Dark Star Seth Waugh has resigned his leadership position with the PGA of America. And he did it in a fashion that really you don't do ever as a corporate executive unless something is, I will even say, horribly wrong. Quote, I recently informed the board that I would not be renewing my contract that is set to expire 4 days from now. June 30th. Now, he didn't say 4 days. He just said June 30th. And then fluff after that. Another couple of sentences. I'm honored. It was a privilege. The usual stuff. What is that really saying there? 4 days to go and I quit. I'm out of here. You guys suck. Goodbye. It's bad. Yeah, it's really bad when you say that way. And I say, Seth, I'm going to turn it over to you. Seth Waugh is, he went to every corporate charm school class there was. I mean, he was a banker. He grew up the right way. He came through all the ranks. You don't climb to the top of he was the head of North America for Deutsche Bank and a global bank. And he reported to the chairman and CEO over in Germany. That's any company that size, particularly a bank, is political, all politics all the time. Very difficult to climb the ladder. You got to know how to say things, how to do things, how to be good at it, all those things. And he did that. And everything that before that in his career that got him to that point. He's in all these fancy clubs. He ran the PGA of America. I mean, Seth Waugh knows how to say things, and this statement is nothing short of F you guys, my estimation. Yeah. I'm not renewing my contract. That's amazing. So assuming that we're right, and we'd love to hear from your audience, so I'm sure some corporate titans out there listening to us. How would you read that? Go look it up. But that's the quote. I recently informed the board that I would not be renewing my contract that's set to expire. And this was before this news story is 4 days before the contract is expiring. 4 days. Not like Slumbers, who did it the proper way, exiting the RNA, giving him, I'm going to be here all year. I'm leaving next November, 10 months later, 11 months later, plenty of time to be looking for a replacement. Here the PGA of America is left. That's another, and I'm going to turn it to you. They've left, this press release is left with quotes from like the president and the head of operations having to say things, having to be quoted. And I'm not going to spend time. I mean, if I can fish them up while you're talking, but you got to be kidding. They don't have anything from here. They don't have anything here from Waugh with the usual stuff. Usually like a paragraph of all the fluffy stuff that you say and the successor and who's going to take over. No, they're starting a search.
Yeah.
And they have an interim leader. So he left in a huff, to say it nicely. What's your take on this, Dark Side? I'll give you the reins. Where do you want to take it?
Well, here's the take. What you brought up Slumbers briefly. So Slumbers, when he left, when he said I'm going to leave, there was still hope that golf would be united. We'd have the best players in the world playing in the majors, playing in signature type events. Potentially the DP European Tour being a real tour again because it's below the Korn Ferry Tour. So Slumbers had some hope, and he was going to stick around, maybe appoint a successor, which has been appointed. Whereas Seth Waugh, as we sit here today in July of 2024, 3 years into the LIV Golf League, Seth Waugh's given up. He has given up. He has washed his hands of the situation. This is a man who came up through the corporate ladder, who makes billion-dollar decisions for breakfast. And now you're going to let Tiger Woods, that we just talked about, run things? I'm out of here. And to say that he said F you is an understatement. He's like, guys, not only is it F you, but I really hope this LIV League eats your lunch, is what I'm gathering.
It's
and if I were 50, I'd be go joining them. But instead, I'm going to take my life and I'm going to enjoy it as I ride off into the sunset. And good luck who you've hitched your wagon to. That's the way I see it.
Back to you in the studios. Effers. Great line from Bruce Almighty. Fabulous line. If you haven't seen that, got to get that on YouTube. Yeah, at the end, the Golf Digest story is where I'm getting this. I mean, it's all over the news audience, but the Golf Digest throws in here at the last sentence of their little story. It's not immediately clear who will be Waugh's long-term replacement. Oh, that's just so fun. It's just not how you do it, people. It just isn't. These are, this is not a corporate leadership position. It's kind of is, and it's kind of isn't. It's got some other elements to it.
Well, it's done in a manner that there's no question that Seth Waugh wanted to show that the PGA of America is in disarray.
Yeah,
you and I have talked to some pros.
He didn't make any friends on the way out the door. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more like the talk around Seminole is, did you see what Seth did? He just, I mean, Seth, what happened? I mean, his friends down at the club at Seminole, and he's membership everywhere. But I want to say that Seminole is like where he feels like that's his real place, right? Where the guys, he's got his group that he plays with and that kind of thing. What happened, man? I mean, anybody knows that this is not normal. What happened? What do you think he says? Yeah, here's what happened. He was at the PGA Championship. And did something happen there? Did something happen since there? Did something happen at the meeting in New York?
I saw the PGA Championship press conference, and I saw what he was trying to say. He had a thought in his mind of what he wanted to say, and he did say the politically correct statements to the public. But you could tell, looking at him, there was a man in turmoil. There was a man who's like, hey, we're screwing everything up. And we got to get golf back together, or it is going to collapse, is what was going on in his mind. And he just, by the time he was done with that press conference and done with that tournament, he was so fed up, where I think this was his game plan to just take some time off. And like I said, at the last minute, just say, guys, I'm done. You made me do things at the PGA Tour, at the PGA Championship. You made me do things that I didn't want to do. And that's not how I'm going to end my
that could be
life and career.
Maybe they had him set it up that way, but I don't know who would be pressuring him to do that. I mean, he's the top of the organization. You would assume he could do what he wanted. There's nothing here in the press release, so to speak, that says where is he going to go next, if anywhere. Doesn't say anything.
Oh, yeah, I think
running off to retire. I can't wait to spend time on my yacht. I want to sail around the world. And I'm not saying Seth's a wealthy man, but maybe he's got a 50-foot sailboat. He's going to go sail the Caribbean. It doesn't say anything about why. It doesn't say why he's leaving. It doesn't say where he's going. There's nothing here. Just I quit.
This was a 3-sentence resignation email to the board.
You just don't see this. I'm telling you, this is
that's what I'm saying. This was like, when you're fed up with your whatever, I don't know, you're a board member for the, Johnson Foundation in Little Rock, Arkansas, and you say, hey guys, I'm done. Thanks, appreciate it, bye, and you'll never talk to those people again.
Literally.
Literally, yeah.
Literally. Yeah, it's very odd. So now we've established that. Why is it? Why? What happened? What happened? Is he ticked off at the PGA of America? Is he ticked off at golf in general? Those would be the two big buckets, or some combination of those two things. What do you think?
Well, I would say, first of all, he is angry that he cannot perform his mission. His mission is really for the PGA professionals, the teaching professionals. That exercise that is going on inside of the PGA of America, where they are only, like many big corporations that have taken that left turn towards wokeness, they are only providing the ability for certain people to become PGA professionals. They are not allowing the present PGA professionals to do what they want to do. So I think when he looks at the business of teaching golf, it's on its ear. It's being turned into where the actual mission of the PGA of America is now a secondary level to what he thought he should be about. And he's like, guys, you're not going to let me do my job. Then we got to come together and put on a major every year, and we got to do a Ryder Cup, and you're not letting me do any of those things that are what's best for the game. So you got two levels. You got his everyday mission, and then he's got the Ryder Cup and the PGA Championship, which were both a disaster, an unmitigated disaster. He had to look at Valhalla and go, guys, they're going to shoot 20 under. And everybody was like, no, they're not. This course is so hard. And I'm like, guys, they're going to shoot 20 under. I mean, how many times do you think he sat there the way the PGA course was set up at Valhalla and said to somebody, this is going to be a joke. This is not even a minor. So, I mean, I could go on and, all day about those two things. It was comical. And he has a functioning frontal lobe. He's probably a thinking man. And it had to he was done. Eventually you get to the point where you realize you're outnumbered by stupidity.
It's something has happened. This was not planned. I know right. He's been there for 6 years, and that's sort of a traditional time frame to be there and then go. Well, he can count. He could have said in January that this was his last gig. He knew that his contract was coming up, obviously. If he was planning to go, if his vision and strategy was to go, he would have said that a long time ago, because that's what you do. When you have a good relationship with your organization, you don't leave it in a lurch. You plan ahead. Everybody does that. That's not only the right thing to do, it's the honorable and polite thing to do. Well, that didn't happen here at all. So, it's got to be something that happened since the PGA Championship, I would have to say, or at the PGA Championship, at there or since there. And could it have, and this will be interesting to you, Darkstar, and audience, could it have something to do predominantly, now it might be a combination of things, but is part of it the Ryder Cup? Now, because the PGA of America owns that. Is it the Ryder Cup? Did somebody get to him and say, yeah, we don't want to live guys in that? And Waugh has already said, well, we need to get the game together. I mean, I'm not a big fan. He has said he's not a big fan of what LIV is doing. On the other hand, he's said just at the PGA Championship, well, they need to get the game back together. We can't have two different leagues. That doesn't work. So however you do it, get it done is where he is with that. So is it Ryder Cup? Is it PGA of America? Is it if we were just declining numbers that it's hard that his 30,000 PGA professionals are shrinking, everything's getting harder. I don't want to be here when it really falls apart because I don't want that, and it's not fun anymore either because we're going down, not up. He could have planned. That's all been in front of him for plenty of time. He didn't need to go out at the last minute. So it's not that. It's not a thing that he's been watching for a long time. It can't be that. It has to be something new and different. And that would seem to point to something to do with LIV Golf, PGA Tour Enterprise, the PGA Championship, where it fits into that schedule. They did bend to the PGA Tour to move it. I don't think it was the PGA of America's idea to move to May.
Absolutely not.
And we're not now. What we did that for you guys, and now what? And that was is that under Waugh's tenure that they moved? There's a good question.
Yeah, they moved.
When was that? Like to 2019, 2020?
It was very recent.
So it was let's assume it's under Waugh. So he agreed to it. And that, I can't imagine that's a plus. I don't care how they spun it at the time. We were in August, and we're moving our major that's been here since 1925 or 1920. No, longer than that. It's been a long time because Hagen won it a bunch of times, right? It was right around there, 1920. We've been here 100 years, and we're moving because FedEx wants to have the line. You want the FedEx guys to have the spotlight in August for your FedEx Cup final? Really?
Yeah, we're rearranging the golf schedule because FedEx, and not only did FedEx do that, obviously, even Rory and a lot of guys missed going to Firestone. So we're going to take away an iconic venue. We're going to move the PGA Championship to have a year-end championship, as they mentioned a million times, like NASCAR. Let me say that again. We want to have a sprint like NASCAR because, that's just the way we want it. I when I heard that, I said, who is actually running things now?
So it's, if they had, if there was talk, because that could be coming from the PGA Tour or SSG for that matter. The new sheriffs in town, they are running the show. If they are. Joe Gorder, the new vice chairman of the board of PGA Tour Enterprises. This is how we see the Ryder Cup shaping up. Boom, boom, boom. That's how we see it. How do you see it, Seth? Well, it is our cup. Yeah, but there are players. So maybe the reason I'm pointing at the Ryder Cup is because that is the 1, 2, and 3 top concern at the PGA of America. That thing has to go a certain way and it has to be super great. It's coming back to Bethpage a year from now, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're planning it. They're busy working on it as we speak. And Seth may have said, "Well, no, I don't agree to anything that you just said. No, that's not. No, we don't want to do any of those things. Yes, Europe's going to have Rahm and whoever. Yes, that's going to happen." I assume that's his point of view because they need the best show. We have, TV contracts. We have all these things. No. That's our money there. You're now in my pocket. No, we're not. I appreciate your opinion, but no, we're going to do it the way we want. Well, we might have a problem with that. If there's a little bit of an impasse, not a little bit, if there's some friction between players playing and the thing not happening the way Seth wants it to happen, that could be a big deal, enough to say, well, I can't make them do what I want. Maybe Seth's just like, screw that. I'm not going to be here for that. I need to get out now, well ahead of that. And my contract's coming up. So if I renew my contract and then leave, I'll just get out now. And I can't give a real reason why I'm giving out. He didn't give a reason. There's no reason.
No.
I'm gone. So I think it's about, it's not, I don't know, obviously, and nobody's going to tell us. So we have to read the tea leaves like usual. I think that if there's 4 options, if there's A, B, C, D, I love options. The Ryder Cup would be option A. We'll leave it right there for this free preview of our Inner Circle podcast. Please join us. Click the upgrade button in the email you received or on the podcast page and get the rest of this episode and all our Inner Circle shows right here on the Thinking Man Inner Circle podcast, unfiltered and off script.